The gate swung open, not to the rhythm of a platinum-selling beat, but to the jarring crunch of law enforcement. March 2024, the opulent Los Angeles residences of Sean Diddy Combs became impromptu crime scenes. No longer havens of champagne wishes and caviar dreams, they were now draped in the cold reality of a Homeland Security raid. The whispers started low. What secrets lurked within those walls? The answer, it turned out, was far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. Hidden cameras, meticulously placed, surveillance footage capturing the darkest corners of Hollywood's elite. This wasn't about bad boy antics, this was about something far more insidious, something that would leave an indelible stain on the entertainment industry. The world watched in morbid fascination. Diddy, the self-proclaimed king of hip-hop, was now a man stripped bare, his empire teetering on the brink. The allegations were chilling: sex trafficking, drug abuse, the exploitation of vulnerable young people. As the initial shockwaves subsided, a new horror dawned. This wasn't just about Diddy. The unsealed court documents from July 2024 revealed a cast of characters far more extensive, far more influential. Names whispered in hushed tones, redacted in official reports but blazoned across social media. A Grammy-winning rapper, an Oscar-winning actor, multiple NBA and NFL stars. The whispers grew louder, morphing into a deafening roar. Sean Combs had always projected an image of untouchable success. From his early days as a music executive to his reign as a cultural icon, he seemed to defy gravity. But beneath the carefully curated persona, sinister cracks had begun to appear. In 2023, the lawsuits began to surface. Accusations of assault, abuse, and coercion painted a chilling picture far different from the polished image. Then came the federal charges in May 2024, the hammer blow that sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. Sex trafficking, racketeering, charges so grave that even Diddy's considerable wealth and influence couldn't secure his freedom. 3 times he was denied bail. His businesses, once symbols of his entrepreneurial prowess, were now entangled in a web of alleged criminality. The man who once boasted about owning the world was now ensnared in a legal battle for his very survival. The July 2024 unsealing of court documents was like prying open Pandora's box. The evidence was damning. The surveillance footage, a voyeuristic window into the darkest corners of power. It was here that the whispers began to take on terrifyingly concrete forms. The redacted names, the blurred faces in the videos only fueled the speculation. Who were these powerful figures caught in Diddy's web? What secrets were they so desperate to keep hidden? The answer, it seemed, was just out of reach. Tantalizingly close but obscured by legal red tape and carefully crafted non-disclosure agreements. The leaked footage became the stuff of morbid legend. Grainy images passed around on encrypted servers, whispered about in hushed tones. Each frame a potential career ender, a glimpse into a world where morals were fluid and consent was a luxury reserved for the powerful. There were whispers of parties, fueled by endless supplies of drugs and alcohol, where young men and women were treated as little more than commodities. The accusations were specific, disturbing. One victim, speaking out anonymously, alleged being drugged and assaulted by Diddy in 2018, another man present while Diddy watched. The details were graphic, sickening. Diddy's attorney, of course, denied everything, crying government persecution and a conspiracy against his client. But the sheer volume of accusations, the consistency of the stories, was difficult to ignore. The Grammy-winning rapper. The whispers always seemed to circle back to him. Text messages, leaked to the press, hinted at a close relationship with Diddy, a shared predilection for a particular lifestyle. Fan theories ran rampant, dissecting music videos and social media posts for clues. Then there was the Oscar-winning actor. His name, too, appeared in the redacted documents, linked to parties at Diddy's residences. Sources close to the investigation hinted at video footage, potentially explosive in nature. The actor's publicist issued a swift and forceful denial, but the damage was done. The seed of doubt had been planted. The NBA and NFL stars were more elusive, their identities shrouded in rumor and speculation. But the whispers persisted, fueled by blind items and cryptic social media posts. The public, as always, was ravenous for information. Social media became a digital courtroom, with millions acting as judge, jury, and executioner. The hashtag #DiddyTapes exploded, garnering billions of views on TikTok alone. Blind item accounts, notorious for their cryptic hints and insider information, became the arbiters of truth, confirming fan theories and adding fuel to the speculative fire. Every celebrity who had ever shared a stage with Diddy, every social media influencer who had been photographed at one of his parties, was suddenly suspect. Reputations were tarnished with a single tweet. Careers built over decades crumbled under the weight of online accusations. The pressure on those named in the unsealed documents, even indirectly, was immense. The Grammy-winning rapper retreated from public view, canceling concerts and maintaining radio silence. The Oscar-winning actor, through his legal team, issued a categorical denial of any wrongdoing, threatening legal action against those spreading malicious and unfounded rumors. But the denials rang hollow in the face of the mounting evidence, the endless tide of speculation on social media. The court of public opinion had already reached its verdict, and it wasn't pretty. Diddy himself remained uncharacteristically silent. His social media accounts, once a steady stream of self-promotion and braggadocio, fell dormant. His legal team, working overtime, issued carefully worded statements denying all allegations. But the silence from the man himself was deafening. Speculation ran rampant. Was Diddy cutting deals with prosecutors, ready to throw others under the bus to save himself? Were the whispers true, that he possessed a treasure trove of compromising information on Hollywood's most powerful figures? The rumor mill churned, fueled by every leaked document, every cryptic social media post. The entertainment industry held its breath waiting for the other shoe to drop. The silence was perhaps the most damning indictment of all. It spoke volumes about the culture of fear and complicity that had allowed such alleged behavior to flourish for so long. The message was clear: speak out and face the consequences. The victims, those brave enough to come forward, faced an uphill battle. Discrediting a man of Diddy's stature was no easy feat, yet their stories, harrowing and heartbreaking, began to chip away at the carefully constructed facade. The world was watching, waiting to see if justice would prevail, or if power, as it so often did, would find a way to silence the truth. The comparisons to Jeffrey Epstein were inevitable, the wealthy, well-connected man accused of preying on the vulnerable. The whispers of a network, of powerful figures implicated in a web of abuse. The Diddy scandal, however, threatened to be even more explosive. Epstein's world had been one of relative secrecy, his crimes hidden behind layers of wealth and privilege. Diddy, on the other hand, had built his empire in the public eye. His world was one of celebrity and glamour, documented in countless photos and videos. The potential fallout, if even a fraction of the allegations proved true, was staggering. The Epstein case had exposed the dark underbelly of power, the ease with which wealth and influence could silence victims and obstruct justice. The Diddy scandal threatened to do the same, but on a much larger scale. This wasn't just about one man's alleged crimes, it was about a system that had allowed such behavior to flourish. It was about the price of fame, the corrosive nature of power, and the lengths to which some would go to protect their secrets. The entertainment industry, built on image and perception, reeled from the scandal. Brands rushed to distance themselves from Diddy, once a sought-after spokesperson and collaborator. His music, once ubiquitous, disappeared from playlists and airwaves. The house of cards, meticulously constructed over decades, was crumbling before the world's eyes. The scandal sent shockwaves through Hollywood, exposing the hypocrisy and double standards that often lurked beneath the veneer of glamour. The whispers grew louder, spreading beyond Diddy and his alleged accomplices. Other celebrities, once considered untouchable, were now being scrutinized, their pasts examined for any whiff of impropriety. The #MeToo movement had shattered the silence around sexual harassment and assault, but the Diddy scandal suggested that the rot ran much deeper. It hinted at a culture of complicity, where powerful figures could operate with impunity, their crimes hidden in plain sight. The question now was, would anything change? Would this be a watershed moment leading to real accountability and reform, or would it fade from memory, another example of justice denied? As the legal process ground on, a sense of weary cynicism began to set in. Diddy's trial, originally scheduled for late 2024, had been delayed multiple times. His legal team, employing every tactic at their disposal, seemed determined to run out the clock, hoping that public interest would wane and the case would fade from view. The victims, meanwhile, were left in limbo, their lives on hold as they waited for their day in court. The wheels of justice, it seemed, turned slowly, especially for those without wealth and power on their side. The delay tactics were a familiar story. Powerful figures with unlimited resources at their disposal often used the legal system to their advantage, delaying and obfuscating until their accusers were exhausted and financially drained. The Diddy case threatened to become another example of justice denied, a reminder that accountability was often a privilege reserved for the few. The Diddy tape scandal wasn't just about one man's alleged crimes. It was a mirror reflecting the dark side of fame, the corrosive nature of power, and the lengths to which some would go to protect their secrets. It was a story about complicity and silence, about the price of speaking out in a system rigged against the powerless. As the legal battles raged on and the rumor mill churned, one question remained: would the truth ever be fully revealed? Would the names redacted in court documents be unmasked? The whispers of complicity amplified into a roar that could no longer be ignored? The world was watching, waiting, hoping that in the end, justice, however delayed, would prevail. What do you think? Are the accusations against Diddy and others credible? Who else might be involved? Share your thoughts and theories, but remember, these are serious allegations, and everyone deserves the presumption of innocence until proven guilty.